Dobry den,
Stillovete.
and welcome back to our little Bulgarian adventure.
We're approaching the end of November and it's starting to get very cold.
Only in the mornings really.
Yeah.
And last thing at night. It's not too bad in the day.
Yes, we've had some kind of what we call English weather. Grey days, bit of drizzly rain. But
we've also had some really beautiful sunny days, which today is.
It's lovely out there today. And we're in here.
Yes, so we've done quite a little bit more clearing and tidying in the garden. Clearing all our raised beds, getting them ready for next year.
Another job we've had to do this week is branches keep falling off our walnut tree, landing on the barn roof. And as you may know if you've seen previous, well, quite a long time ago, I'm not allowed on the barn roof.
No.
It's much too high and a little bit unstable, we think. But we couldn't leave them up there, so we had to take those down. So I was at the top of the ladder, Lynn and Max were at the bottom of the ladder. But we've cleared as much off the roof as we can. And
cut out a few of the lower dead branches that
were threatening to fall.
Mainly on your car.
Yeah, didn't want that. So that's another little maintenance type job that we've been doing.
We've still got lots more of that to do around the property.
Yeah. There's also a lot more leaves still on the tree, so they'll be coming down in the next week or two.
Mainly only on the walnut tree. The rest of them seem to have shed. We've had a terrible harvest this year of walnuts.
Don't know what's going on.
Nothing compared to the bags we had last year.
We were wading through them last year.
Yeah.
But this year, half a bucket, if that. So.
And it's a huge tree.
Yes. So Nyama Areshi.
Yeah. Nyama Areshi. You can tell we've been... Yeah. The other thing we've done this week is gone to our Bulgarian class.
Can you tell? Yes, that's still progressing quite nicely. We are picking up more and more information and it's becoming easier to form sentences.
Yes, and Max has mastered the alphabet now.
Yeah. This week we're doing male and female and neuter.
Yeah. But it's very confusing, but we're getting there.
Once you understand the rules, it gets a little easier, but practice, that's all it needs.
Till we find the exceptions, because there always is.
Of course.
Exceptions to every rule.
Hence the saying. Also this week we've continued inside the house with the seemingly never-ending job of channeling in the cables and making the walls good. Well, I've carried on doing bits and pieces and this is what I did this week. We left it with the filling of the channels done at the end of last week. This morning I've sanded that down, very messy job. I look a bit like a ghost again with all the dust that's sitting in my hair and on my face. I'm now at the point where I can fill the hole with concrete, bed in the cup, let that set, and then that'll be the sockets and any switches securely in position. I've used these pieces of wood to hold the cups in place while the concrete permanently sets. That way they'll be at the right level for putting the sockets back into the wall. And when I come to do the filling and the top coat, I'll cover up the concrete and it'll be as good as new. So that's the wood removed. You can see this is nice and sturdy. So that's ready now for just doing the making good around there, adjusting the length of the cables so that they'll fit into the socket. The socket will go on the wall and good as new. And one final belt and braces approach to make sure it's solid is I put a screw through the back of the cup, you can just see it in the middle there, at an angle into the mud brick behind. That just gives it a little anchor point, so those sockets should be going nowhere. It's well out of the way of the electrics, it's not a danger to anything. It's just another little precaution. Stop it pulling out when we pull plugs in and out of the socket. The next job is to top coat over the filling, fill up these cracks, give myself a nice smooth wall. I'm now at the stage where I've completed the top coat of filler. It's not just around these cups that hold the sockets, it's also in the channels where the cables are going and any other cracks and holes I could find. I've got to let that dry properly and then I'll be able to sand it and paint it. But in the meantime, I can put the sockets back into these holes. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I'll just tidy up that a little bit. So there we have the first socket in place. It won't stay there when I'm painting and sanding, but just to show it goes at that pace. It's rock solid. It's ready for me to move on and do the next jobs. I'm going to put the rest in, but I've found a slight issue with the ones I took out in that the screws inside that hold the cables don't want to tighten up properly. Now it's dangerous having loose wires in the back of a plug, so I'll have to buy some new ones. But I'll get that done next week, but in the meantime I can be doing the sanding and the painting, which will finish off the walls. So that's the top coat on, all the channeling in, all the cracks, everything I could find to fill has been filled on the walls and the ceiling. There are a few cracks around the very top where the ceiling joins the walls. We're planning on putting coving up, so I'm going to fill those as I do the coving. But in terms of the actual finish of the walls, I just did a sand and a paint and I'll be ready to move on, finally. This job has taken a lot longer than I thought it would, but the end is now in sight and we can actually move on with getting the room finished, getting the floor out and replacing that. But in the meantime, it just leaves me with some painting to do, which I'll do over the weekend.
Yeah, it has seemed to take forever, this job, mainly because you're doing it in little chunks and then you've got to wait for it to dry, sand it, another little chunk, wait for it to dry, sand it.
Yes, I think I've had 4 or 5 sessions of applying filler or top coat or plaster or whatever. It has taken its toll.
Yeah, it seems quite little reward for the amount of effort that's gone in.
Having said that, once we've sanded and painted the walls, we've only got one of the 6 surfaces to go, but it is the floor.
Yes.
Which we have to totally remove and replace.
Yeah, I think it was just after the excitement of the hole in the wall.
Yes, we seem to
and
be
removing the kitchen sink, and that all went quite quickly, didn't it?
Yeah.
Now we seem to have really slowed down again.
It's drying times, but we think we're past the worst of those now, so hopefully things will begin to pick up again. The only good thing about Sunday when I was sanding the walls was listening to England winning the T20 World Cup. Well done.
Don't know what he's talking about.
Cricket.
With the evenings becoming colder, we have started using our Pechka a little bit in the evenings, but we found the little one that we have in this room, the little cast iron one, works perfectly well. We put it on for, what, half an hour?
Half an hour each evening we've used it.
Yeah.
In that half hour it raises the temperature by a good 5 or 6 degrees, and that's
fine for the rest of the evening. But
yeah.
I think that's one of the big arguments for definitely putting the insulation in the ceilings.
Definitely, yes. But we are using up the little odds and ends of wood that wouldn't stack, were a strange shape, too small, that sort of thing. We're burning those first. Helps us clean the barn.
Yeah, the barn is slowly getting clearer. I think we've nearly finished all of last wood is now processed, isn't it? So we can start filling it up with this year's.
So next week I may be out with my chainsaw.
I think definitely we'll be out with this if we get calm days.
Yeah, I'm not doing it in the wind or the rain. We also have a date for your diary.
Yes, a week tomorrow.
Yes.
On 26th November is the second Palamatza trading day. over in Palamarza village.
Yep, this one has a slight Christmas theme.
Yes, apparently so.
It's
There's
the last one
rumours of
before
mince
Christmas,
pies
yes.
and all sorts of
There's
things.
food, there's all sorts.
Yeah.
So yes, certainly come along. It starts, if you're not trading, it starts at 1 o'clock. If the weather's bad, they do have an inside area as well, so you won't get wet or snowed on or whatever else could happen.
Yes, and there's also a rumour of Thai food.
There is. So anybody who wants to come along, you're more than welcome. Bring stuff if you want to barter. You don't just have to pay with money, you can bring goods to barter. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah. I think there's a page on Facebook.
There is.
Called Palamarza Trading
Palamarza Trading Day, yes.
Day. We might put a link in the bit below if that didn't work.
I'll try. I'm not good with this. But we'll give it a go. And finally, there's just one more piece of important business we have to attend to.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday for the coming week to my Auntie Irene.
Yeah, who's recently started watching us.
Yes.
So we hope you have a lovely day.
I'm sure you will. Let Mum do all the work.
He doesn't mean that, Mavis.
Well,
I think that's about it.
I think we're up to date now, yes.
So hopefully our nice weather will continue for next week so we can finish off getting the outside bits done.
Yeah. And get a bit of momentum going for doing the work inside.
Yes.
So until next week,
Stay safe.
be well.
Doskoro.
Doskoro.